Namaste. A very warm welcome to Dr. B.V. Raman Jayanti Endowment Lecture. I am Shilpa Kona and I will be your host today. Raman and Rajeshwari Research Foundation, in association with Mysore Foundation Society Ideological Library and Research Center, that is Vidyasagar Professor M.P.L. Sastry Educational Foundation, presents 111th Raman Jayanti Annual Endowment Lecture. Now, choosing the appropriate educational direction is a pivotal choice in an individual's life, and Vedic astrology emerges as a valuable aid in facilitating this crucial decision. Today, we have with us Dr. S. Archana Murthy, who will graciously impart her expertise and knowledge on the subject, titled The Right Choices of Education Through Vedic Astrology. Dr. Archana Murthy is an astrology and Vastu consultant with a PhD in astrology, MA in astrology, MA Bridge from Central University, MBA from Singapore, and she has also spent over 18 years in corporate experience across India and the US. She is also daughter of renowned astrologer and Vastu consultant Professor N.S. Murthy. She is a practicing astrologer and also spreads awareness about astrology through her YouTube channel as well, which is Astro Science with Archana Murthy. I encourage you all to watch our YouTube channel to understand more about astrology. Now, before we begin today's session, I would request the audience to note that any questions that you may have, you can type it down in the comment section, and in the end, after the session, Dr. Archana will answer them for you. So we are very pleased to have you with us today. And once again, a very warm welcome to you, Dr. Archana ji. Over to you to start the session.
Thank you, Shilpa ma'am, for the introduction. Thank you. Sarvebhyah namaskaraha. Welcome to today's topic, Right Choices of Education Through Vedic Astrology. We will see how astrology can help analyze and provide pariharas for education. Before I begin, I would like to express my gratitude to Raman and Rajeshwari Research Foundation, Niranjan Babu Sir, Sri Suprajarama, for providing a platform to spread Jyotish Shastram knowledge. And thank you to the viewers who have logged in on a Saturday evening. I'm sure you'll find the session informative and useful. And today's platform is supported by the renowned Mysore Foundation Society, popularly and fondly known as MES. My topic on education fits very well. Let me start with a quote. Swadeshe pujyate raja, vidvan sarvatra pujyate. This means a king is respected in his kingdom, whereas a learned or educated person is respected everywhere. This emphasizes the importance of education. What is education or shikshana? Education means to acquire knowledge, information, and skill through nature, parents, and teacher. In today's context, the process of receiving systematic instruction, especially at a school or university. Why do we need education? As per our scriptures, the main aim of education is to acquire knowledge, create a strong moral, physical, and spiritual personality so that we can devote it to the pursuit of knowledge. In today's materialistic world, education is to gain confidence and lead a comfortable life. It helps us to have mental and physical strength to face any challenge with confidence and dignity. Now, we've seen a few people get educated easily, whereas a few struggle to receive formal education. Now, today we will see how astrology can help a person in education field and what are the various remedies that we can offer children to choose the right subject and achieve their potential. Now, there are a few important points to consider for this analysis. The first is bhavas. Now, what is a bhava? Bhava is a state of existence or a state of mind. It is also called house in English So in a horoscope, there are 12 bhavas or 12 houses. It denotes the external conditions of your existence felt by your mind. Now, how many bhavas should we analyze for education? Generally, Lagna, second bhava, fourth bhava, fifth bhava, and ninth bhava are considered for the analysis of education. But as per my father and guru, Dr. N.S. Murthy, says all bhavas should be analyzed for a holistic analysis. Now, why should we see all houses? Let's see. Now, the first house or Lagna in the horoscope, it indicates the head, the health of the person, and the body of the person. Now, a healthy body is required for a good education. Now, the second bhava provides the finance and family support. Now, it indicates if the person has a finance and family support, and it also indicates the elementary education, how good it is, and the person's desire to learn. If the second house is good, then the speech will be good as well. Third bhava indicates your communication skills, the concentration and the courage required for education. Fourth bhava is an important bhava. It indicates intelligence, mother, happiness, and your performance in high school. Fifth bhava, again, a very important house for education, which will tell how successful you are in your future. This is the house of Purva Punya, encashment of knowledge, and college education. This also indicates if you're able to get Vedic and scriptures knowledge. Sixth bhava indicates if you have completed your college successfully, then this house will give you the results in terms of job or service. Now, it also tells you if you are capable to participate in any competitive examinations. It indicates health ailments and if they have an impact on your education. Now, seventh bhava indicates your passion and your mission. And this will indicate if you will utilize your education in the form of either studying further or to utilize in the form of job or business. Now, eighth bhava indicates losses, failures, sorrows, obstacles. Now, even if your college education is good and if your eighth bhava is weak, then there are chances that there will be losses and failures frequently. Ninth bhava talks about father, devata anugraha, fortune, and higher education. 10th bhava, this is the house of profession and conduct. Depending on your education, this house will indicate how good your professional life will be. Now, this house is opposite the high school house, which I told you earlier was the fourth bhava. Now, if there are no bad influences in high school, then you will reach college and you will have a good attitude in your professional life and be disciplined and efficient. This is what we see that if the 10th house grahas aspect the house high school and the high school grahas aspect profession, then that is why these bhavas are very, very crucial. Now, what we have heard from our parents, in some way it is right, because high school is crucial for your future. And this we can see from astrology as well. This bhava, 11th bhava, talks about fulfillment of desires, gain, income, prosperity, and respect. Now, this is again important because it's opposite your college education. Now, the grahas in the 11th, the fulfillment of desires, aspect the college life, and the grahas in the college, in the 5th bhava, it will aspect the 11th house of fulfillment of desires. Hence, these are linked and crucial for analysis. Now, how is that? Because if you choose a favorite subject in your college, then you will do well in it and you will graduate. This will make you get your desired income. You will be prosperous, respected, and ultimately fulfill your desires. The 12th bhava, the last bhava in the horoscope. This talks about losses, misery, heavy expenditure in education related. The education expenses is indicated here. Now, for instance, in the students in the USA end up taking huge loans, and they are unable to repay, and they will struggle to repay all their life. How is that? Is because the loans is the 6th bhava and the 12th house is here. They both aspect each other. So the grahas influence the 6th bhava. This will make the person, inability to repay, and the grahas will, from the 6th bhava will aspect. So this will make the person take the loan and incur so many expenses in their life. So this, they will end up taking huge education loans and take all their life to repay. So this is because it could happen for such individuals is because of their 6th house is weak and the malefic grahas is aspecting. This will be the problem that they might face in future. Now, not only just the bhavas and their lord placements are also very important for analysis. Now let's look at grahas, right? Now the grahas here, how many grahas are there in the horoscope or which will influence our life? There are 9 grahas. Now out of that, the graha placement is very important because it indicates the impact on education in the horoscope, depending on where they are placed, right? So we will take out of the 9 grahas for us for education, 3 important grahas we will consider and how we will see their impact on education. Now let's look at the first one, Chandra. We all know Chandra means the mind. Manokaraka, mind, right? Chandra, that's what it's called. Now, if Chandra is in good houses, for instance, in Kendra as in 1, 4, 7, 10 houses, in those 4 houses, if Chandra is present, then it will give control, it will help you control the mind and achieve your goals easily. In this example, you can see that Chandra is positioned in his own house and hence is actually doing good for the individual. Now, next graha, which is important, is Buddha. Buddha represents intelligence, memory, and communication. Buddha is called as Buddhi Karaka. Now, if Buddhi Karaka is present in the Dusthanas, as in the bad houses, which are called the 6th house, the 8th house, and the 12th house, or if Buddha is weak, debilitated, or it's called a Nicha. For instance, here in this horoscope, we have a Tula Lagna, and if Buddha is placed in 6th bhava, first of all, Dusthana, second, if it is debilitated, because it is debilitated in Meena, then such an individual will have difficulty to recollect and will not be able to do well in examinations. Now, the third graha, which is important to analyze for education, is Guru. Knowledge, it represents knowledge, Guru Gnanam. It is also called as Gnanakaraka. Now, Guru Gnanakaraka, what does it mean? Is capability to acquire knowledge easily. Now, if this Gnanakaraka is again weak in association with the malefic planets or grahas, or in Dusthanas in the 6th, 8th, or 12th houses, then such individuals will have learning disability. That means, they'll find it difficult to learn. So, for instance, in this example, Guru, his Nicha here, and he's the 5th lord of education, the college education. He's gone into the 6th house and Nicha and in the Dusthana. So, such individuals will find it difficult to learn easily. Now we looked at 2 important points, which was Bhavas and Grahas. We will go to Yogas. This is the third, which is important again for analysis. What are Yogas in Jyotish Shastra? Yogas are unions or combinations or a particular pattern that are formed by Grahas and Bhavas. There are many yogas related to education, so I'll just cover a few here. For instance, Shringataka Yoga. here, if most of the grahas are in Trikona sthana, Trikona is 159 houses, which are the best houses. Now, if these grahas are in Trikona sthana, for instance, in this horoscope, you see there is Lagna, we have Mangala, we have 5th house Rahu, 9th house, you have Guru and Shukra, then there are at least around 4 grahas here, then such a person will be, wise, wealthy, rise high in career and society. And there is another very, very popular and commonly seen in horoscopes is Buddha Aditya Yoga or Nipuna Yoga, because Sun and Mercury always go together. Now, if, for instance, in this particular case, the Buddha Aditya Yoga is if Sun and Mercury is in the house of education, like I said, 5th bhava, right? Education, then it indicates academic achievements, scientific mind, concentration power, and he will be a learned individual. Now, Buddha Yoga, again, another type, which would be a Guru in Lagna, Moon in Kendra, Rahu is second from Moon, like here, and Mars is third from Rahu. Even if 3 conditions are met, then such individuals will have multiple educational qualifications in different educational fields. And Saraswati Yoga. Again, if such combinations exist, then a person will be intelligent, learned, will have a great name and fame in the society. Like I said, there are many yogas related to education. There is Vidhi Yoga, which will indicate eminent lawyer, Vigyan Yoga, which indicates scientific research, invention capabilities, and so on. So it is actually good if you are aware of these yogas, then you will be able to apply accordingly related to education. Now, apart from these 3 points, we also have to look at Dasha and Gochara. Now, what is Dasha Bhukti? As per Maharishi Parashara, every individual's lifespan is for 120 years. Now, these 9 grahas, Surya to Ketu, influence your life in these 120 years. And every graha has been allocated a certain number of years, which, they'll have an influence. Now, it depends on your Janma Nakshatra as to which particular graha starts. Now, here, for instance, Shukra is always, the influence is for 20 years, Ketu is for 7 years, Moon is for 10 years, and so on. Now, if a person has Shukra Dasha and another individual has Shani Dasha, then, just looking at the name, Shukra is a benefic planet and Shani is a malefic planet. Looking at it, people will say, oh, Shukra Dasha is very good, Shani Dasha is very bad. It's not like that. It's incorrect, because depending on the graha placements, Shukra can actually be a bad Dasha for that individual. And Shani Dasha might be very good for that individual. So please don't go by just the name of the graha. Now, coming back to the education point of view, how we look at actually Dasha Bhukti is if it is a favorable Dasha and there is transit, Guru is in a favorable place, which we call it as Guru Bala. If it is there during exams and graduations, if it is a favorable Dasha, for instance, like here, for this particular client of mine, the Saturn here was in a favorable place. So this Rahu and Saturn Dasha Bhukti is actually very good. Now, this individual will achieve desired results in the examination and will be able to move ahead in life successfully. Now, another example of if, for instance, if the Dasha is not favorable, right? So if it is not favorable and there is no transit Guru, then during examinations or graduation we are looking at mainly, then it might lead to the results being disappointments with the kind of results you're expecting. You're disappointed with what you get as a result. Then what should the student do? Put double the effort or study abroad. Else, if these kind of bad dashas are there, then the student could actually lose interest in education, have distractions, or discontinue education. So it's better to know that your dasha is not favorable for the examination. So what you need to do? Put double the effort. All right. Now we looking at all these aspects, that is the bhavas, grahas, yogas, dasha, and gochara. We can analyze the kind of education as a person is capable. Now let's take a quick look at time. I have 2 case studies to cover. So I'm just making sure that I am on time. Yes. Looks like I have enough time. All right. Let's start with our first case study. Let's take a horoscope of one of my clients and analyze what we saw till now. Now, in this horoscope, first we'll look at, as usual, the Lagna, right? Because that is the most important one. Now here, which is a Vrishchika Lagna, there are no malefics in Lagna, right? And the Lagna Lord Mangala is in Kendra Sthana, which is the 10th house here. So such individuals will have a strong constitution, which is good. Second, we'll look at the second house. If this individual will have the finance and family support, yes, because we have the second Lord Guru in second house. He's strong in his own house, and that means this person will have a strong finance and family support for education, and it indicates that this person has a desire to learn. Now let's look at the college education. College education, as I said, was the fifth house. There are malefics in fifth house, the Ketu and Shani, but fifth Lord Guru, right, is strong because he is posited in his own house. And there are aspects from benefics. From Shukra and Chandra is aspecting the fifth, and the second house, the fifth house Lord is strong. Then that is the reason this particular person did not get distracted and graduated. Now, what was the kind of graduation this person did? Obviously, looking at the Ketu and Shani, it indicates a tough and long college education, right? So this person rightly did MBBS, because as we know, college education, MBBS education is a tough and a long one. Now, let's look at if this person had the Graha combinations which indicated to MBBS, to being a doctor. Now, the Surya in the 12th house, right? The Surya in the 12th house is actually considered as hospitals. And Surya, if he is afflicted and he is in the 12th house, it's actually very good and it indicates a doctor or a medical field. Now, here, that is the checkpoint, yes, 1. Number 2 is there is Buddha Aditya Yoga. So that means this person is intelligent, is able to take the, very tough education that she chose. And this is the 10th Lord. The profession is related to hospitals. That is what it says. Surya is the 10th house Lord here and is in the 12th house. Again, related to hospital profession. Mangala is in the 10th house. Mangala represents surgery related. Now, again, MBBS doctor, surgery related. Now, the Lagna, again, Mangala is in the strong place. So that means the mind is strong from Lagna that you can see. Also, mind is also Chandra. Chandra is in the 11th house. Again, strong. So you need to have a strong mind related to the hospital field, and the profession should be related to hospital, and surgery needs to be indicated, and intelligence. All these combinations are there in this female's horoscope, and hence she was able to pursue MBBS. And if you see that the grahas are Ketu and Shani are aspecting the 11th, Rahu, Shukra, Chandra are aspecting the 5th. Right? In the 11th and 5th grahas, so such individuals will be highly motivated and ambitious. And that's why they can take such long careers and, tough careers and tough education. Now, looking at the Dasha Bhukti, let's see if how, was the Dasha was, and was she able to actually have a good Dasha, and was she able to actually, did it benefit her during the graduation? Now, let's look at, first of all, from after high school, after 12th. 2014, the Rahu Shukra good period, and hence this was a good period because of the Rahu Shukra placements in her horoscope. She was able to do well and was able to do well in her medical examinations, and she secured, the entrance exam, and she secured a medical seat. So that was getting into medical. Now let's look at in 2019 for graduation, right? So in 2019, she graduated, which is again, Guru is the second and the fifth lord in this horoscope, finance and the college. She, again, it was placed in a good position as we saw, it was in the second house. She successfully graduated and became a doctor in the hospital. Now, that was a horoscope of an individual who did well in education. Let's look at a horoscope which needs pariharas from astrology. This is case study 2, again, a client of mine. And this, boy is 15 years old. Let's start looking at from first is Lagna. Now, like you see here, Lagna, which is the Kanya Lagna. First, there is a malefic in the Lagna, Golika. Second, there is a malefic influence on the Lagna. Mangala is aspecting and Shani is aspecting. And 12th Lord, Surya, is in the 9th house with the Lagna Lord Buddha, and again aspecting the health. So this individual does not have a healthy constitution and falls ill frequently. Like I said, healthy body is required for good education. Now, let's look at the second house. Now, second house is again family and financial support and desire to learn. Here, there is the Mangala's 8th aspect, which is negative aspect, Rahu's aspect, and the 8th Lord Mangala is aspecting it, which means that the finance and family support is weak and there is very, very, very less desire to learn. Third is communication skills. Now, the communication skills, now there is communication house is the third house, like we saw, right? Here in this horoscope, if you see, the Surya, that is the malefic graha, is aspecting the communication. Number 1, which is negative, and Buddha represents communication. He is with a 12th Lord Surya. Again, not favorable, because 12th Lord, we say Dusthana indicates losses and misery, right? And this is aspecting here. And also the 4th Lord Guru, the high school education Lord, is in the 3rd house. So we have a principle called Bhava, right? Now, Guru is 12th from the 4th house. That means he is not helping the high school education. Now, which basically that is exactly what's happening. The child is having learning disabilities, is distracted, and the not doing well in high school, and clearing 10th is becoming very difficult. Let's look at college education. Now, we still haven't cleared the 10th. And obviously, we see the influences of Gulika on the college. Shani is a delayer, right? He delays everything. Now, he is the Lord aspecting the 5th, which is obvious here. The college education is getting delayed. Now, how can we help this horoscope? Are there pariharas in astrology? Let's start looking at from first remedy, Vidyarambha. What is Vidyarambha? There are 16 Shodasha, which we call as Shodasha Samskaras, 16 ceremonies as per our Vedic system in everyone's life. And in that, Vidyarambham is the beginning of education, is what it's called. This is the first step towards a child's education. Now, the process is here, when they do Vidyarambha in the house, it is, a Om is chanted in the child's ear, an Om is written on the child's tongue with honey. This belief is that this stirs the child's potential and latent talents. That's the effect of the process. Now, but the most important, apart from the effect of the process, is that a good muhurta, auspicious muhurta or a shubha muhurta is to be set for Vidyarambha. Now, why it is important is because if there is an auspicious muhurta set and if the Vidyarambha process is done, the whole muhurta is set perfectly, then it is believed that this reduces the education related doshas in horoscopes. Of course, for this individual, the Vidyaramba should have been done, way early in his life, and if that would have been there, done well, the Shubha Muhurta and everything, then, the individual probably would have lesser education related issues. But at least we can keep in mind for children who are still just not yet, stepping into school, we should at least be mindful to do the Vidyaramba. Now, the second parihara is a support in studies. Now, how can astrology help here? What support can be given here? Now, let's look at the three learning styles that are there. We have visual learning style, auditory, and kinesthetic. So, which in simpler words, it means this is a looker kid, a listener kid, or a mover kid. Kids can be divided into, these areas in learning styles. Now, a looker kid, how can you identify this person? So this person will be a visual learner. He'll rely on pictures and videos for better learning, attracted to puzzles and art projects. And listener kid prefers audio to touching or, through or sight. They are early talkers and they have elaborate vocabulary. A mover kid prefers hands-on learning through touch and movement. They are very restless kids and they have bad handwriting. Such kids will take immense physical risks and they are attracted towards physical activities, climbing, jumping, or sports, etc. This particular case study that we're looking at, the boy, the 15-year-old kid, is a mover kid, physically very active but struggling academically. So for this particular kid, the support should have started from the elementary school. The teaching style for this kid should have been more verbal and hands-on. Now, how do we see from astrology? Guru, if you see, is in the third house, which is the Shravana. That means that this kid will, if through audio and through listening or hands-on training, this kid would have fared better if from the elementary, the teaching style, if it would have been different rather than through written process of education. And for such kids, a state syllabus or an open system school of education, it will be better. They'll be able to do well there. Now, let's take a slight deviation with Shravana that we saw earlier. Now, in our Vedic system, it is interesting that there were 3 steps of learning. Number 1 was Shravana. Now, what does Shravana mean? Shravana was the first step, that was listening to the text from your guru. The knowledge was transmitted this way to the next generation. Next was the Manana. After listening, you need to internalize and understand the knowledge and through deliberation and reflection. Now, the third step in the Vedic system was meditation, nididhyasana, which was through meditation, you realize the knowledge that you have gained and attain it. This was considered the most important step in our Vedic system. Now, that is why Vedas are also called Shruti, because the system of teaching was listening. Now, the Vedic system was actually a very student-centric system. There were various methods of teaching. That was through lecture, dialogues, debates. Storytelling was in, we know our Puranas, right? We have so many stories that we have, which was used for education. Discussions. It was not a one-sided, teaching. Questions were encouraged. Sightseeing, visiting places and learn. Peer-to-peer learning, which is very popular nowadays. This was when the senior students were teaching the juniors. So the yogic and scientific methods were adopted in our Vedic system. I find it fascinating, so we took a slight deviation there. Coming back to the case study. Now, we looked at the support in studies and Vidyaramba. We'll go to the family support. Now, how can the family help apart from the Vidyaramba and support in studies? Through diet and nutrition. Now, we see in this kid's horoscope, the Rahu is in the 6th house. That means this kid is prone to digestive issues and cold and cough issues. So, such a kid needs to be given the right diet so that he is healthy and does not get intestinal and cold and cough issues, which he's prone to. This will increase his immunity and will not impact his education. Now, apart from diet and nutrition, the family also need to employ the exercise. Yes, the kid is very physically active. We have seen that. But because this kid has Ketu in the 12th, which means yoga and meditation will work very well for this kid. And it, if introduced way earlier on, because this kid is also an ADHD diagnosed kid, then this will actually help in reducing it. So, which means that what are the types in yoga, Vrikshasana, for instance, it'll increase the concentration, meditation, and Brahmari Pranayama will boost the memory power. Apart from the family support, we have the Mani Mantra Aushadha from astrology. Let's start with Mani, gem therapy. Now, Mani, for this particular kid, diamond and blue sapphire will help. Why diamond? Diamond will enhance the bhagya, the wealth, and the digestion power of this child. Blue sapphire will enhance the pura punya, luck, education, the better immunity, and will help in encashing talent. Mani, we've covered. Now, mantra. Mantra was introduced by our sages to us to strengthen our weak grahas. All right, for this individual, Shiva Panchakshri Mantram, Om Namah Shivaya, right? So Shiva Panchakshri is very, very good for better control of mind. This will help him a lot. Next is Aushadha. As per the kid's horoscope, Ayurveda is actually very, very favorable. In the horoscope, you can actually see which particular, the type of medicine, Ayurveda, homeopathy, or allopathy will help a person. And for this kid, Ayurveda is very good, which will increase his immunity and enhance his concentration power. Now, in fact, I said earlier that it was an ADHD kid. So there is research which has been seen that from Panchakarma, treatments, ADHD has been treated well in kids. Now we covered the 4. Now, what are the courses that this kid can take, right? Now, if we see the education path, usually how a parent chooses is, it depends on the parents, the area of specialization is chosen by the parents' knowledge, preference, or social ego. Now, the drawbacks are that the parents' knowledge could be outdated, number 1. Number 2, it may not be as per the child's taste or aptitude or intelligence. When the child enrolls into such area of specialization, what happens is, it will lead to dissatisfaction, frustration, and inferiority complex in the child. And if I take a reference from Mahabharata, if you see, Dronacharya was one guru for Pandavas and Kauravas, right? But let's take the Pandavas reference. Just one guru, and he identified the strengths of each Pandava, each pupil's strength, and enhanced the skill accordingly. Now, Arjuna became an expert archer, and Bhima became an expert wrestler. So we've always, like I said, student-centric. We've always identified the student strengths and directed accordingly. Now, here for this horoscope, what is suggested is, commerce, he'll do well. Management is another good area. Computer courses related to automobiles. These are suggested based on the graha placements in the horoscope. Now, how we say that is, we have 9 grahas, and we have every graha, we have a representative towards these subjects. So for instance, Surya represents these subjects, Chandra represents these subjects. Now, depending on that, astrology maps the 9 grahas to the various subjects. And as per this, we can actually identify the aptitude of the child and suggest the subjects accordingly. Now, Dasha, let's look at the Dasha, right, for this kid. Now, future we are talking about, because the kid is not yet past the 10th standard. Now, this Dasha Bhukti, when he's going to pass the 10th, is actually favorable. Thankfully, the dasha is favorable. So that means this individual will pass 10 standard. And again, the graduation time also the dasha is favorable. Now, again, because of which he will definitely graduate. But so that he does not struggle in the process, we can suggest these support system so that he can actually identify the right courses and be able to encash his talent accordingly. Now let's look at Vastu Shastra, right? How can Vastu Shastra help here? Now, if you have a kid, I would suggest, to make them study facing north or east. Mostly north is favorable. North or east facing is the best. And if you keep their study desk in the northwest corner, it'll be the best way. Why? Northwest is because that is the Chandra corner, and that will actually keep their mind cool and they will be able to assimilate what they have learned and understand better. Now, if this horoscope was shown earlier, then we could have helped even better with mantras and forewarnings, and the kid could have been taught as per the strength. But luckily now, as I said, the current client of mine is following, and the kid is actually going through the right system right now. So through astrology, we can help every person to be knowledgeable as per their strength. That is how astrology can help analyze your abilities and weaknesses, and we will be able to educate the person as per one's strength. Now, I'd like to conclude with this verse: Vidya dadati vinayam, vinayat yati patra, vinayat yati patratam, patratvat dhanam apnoti, dhanat dharmam tatah sukham. Knowledge makes a person humble. Now, humility makes you worthy, capable, and ability creates wealth. Wealth leads to the right conduct, and right conduct leads to contentment. Now, that's exactly the objective of education. Knowledge gives us culture, and finally, contentment in life. So, I would like to iterate, Jyotish Shastram is an incredible science, though ancient, still relevant even today, giving the right pariharas. And for any videos, I start with fundamentals. You can always go to my YouTube channel, which is called at Astro Science with Archna Murthy. I have around 70 videos up to date as of now. Dhanyavadaha. And thanks to the technical team for providing support today. I would now like to open the forum for questions, and I would like to hand over to Shilpa ma'am.
Thank you, Archana ji, for this wonderful session. I am sure your insights have definitely illuminated our audience. It has definitely enlightened me with the knowledge that is so precious. And I'm sure how we all have understood how this Vedic astrology can empower us to make informed choices, ultimately shaping bright future for our children. So we will now move on to the Q&A session, and the questions will come up on the screen. I would request you, Dr. Archana, to answer them for our audience.
Sure. The question is from Vidhata. All right. So we are looking at how big role Argalas play. In the case studies you discussed, the first one had Shubhargalas on Lagna and the second one didn't. Also, do you look at D24? Okay, good question. Yes, for this particular session, I have only taken the basics, because if we go to the advanced systems of divisional charts and various other systems, it's not going to be there. Most of the time I get my answers from the base horoscope, where I look at the various other, like I said, the details. So I do get most of my answers and remedies from there. And if required, yes, I do go to divisional charts. And yeah, that would be my take on this? Okay, this question is by Mr. Rajaram. Good question. How many carat gemstone, blue sapphire and diamond? Yes, blue sapphire and diamond. Now it depends on the adult or a kid. Now, if it is an adult, blue sapphire, I would recommend 5 carats, and for diamond it will be 10 cents. All right. Um, Now, if it is for a student, then I would recommend 3 carats of blue sapphire, and the diamond would be of American diamond. I wouldn't advise actually a pure diamond as such. So American diamond also you can go for 3 carats for a student I'm talking about. And the various gemstone therapy, right? It has to be not a closed one. It should be an open one so that the rays actually pass through. And most preferably, we actually suggest blue sapphire, the gemstones to be worn on the hand. For a student, of course, a pendant will be better. 2 pendants can be worn in the same chain, and at least it'll be hidden, and you can wear it on a silver or a gold. Silver for a student. Next question. All right, this question is from Rupa Gupta. Please explain why Ayurveda is good in the second horoscope. All right. Do you want me to share the screen? Let me go back. All right. So let's go back to the, just give me a minute. All right. Now Ayurveda, why I said Ayurveda. Now, what is the Lagna? Now, what is the, let me put another slide, which will be easier for you to see the horoscope. All right. Now, the most important, when we look at pariharas, especially for the medicine related, is, either it is homeopathy, allopathy, or Ayurveda, right? Here, and then we look at the dusthanas. Okay, that's what is actually really helping, because then 6, 8, and 12, I have told previously as well that if the dusthanas indicate issues, they're also the solution. So here, 8th Lord Mangala is actually is the Mangala. So that means Mangala is actually a Bhumikaraka, right? So it represents Ayurveda. And that is why for such individual, Ayurveda is recommended. Hope that answered. I think that is the last question for the session today. Right, Shilpa ma'am? Or do you have any other questions that you see?
Yes. Yeah, I think we are done with questions. If there are no more questions coming from the audience, I would like to conclude the session. And once again, heartfelt thanks from everyone to Archna Murthy. It was really an insightful session. And before we end today's session, I would like to take this opportunity to inform our audience that the 111th Raman Jayanti Masterclass Series 2023 sessions are starting from Saturday, 2nd September and will run till about 1st October. And if you would like to stay informed about the masterclasses and similar sessions by the foundation, we encourage you to visit our website, that is www.rrf.in, that is rrrf.in, or join our Telegram channel. So thank you once again. Namaste, and we'll see you soon.
Dhanyawada. Thank you.